This is a learning tower project. It's homemade, and the idea with this is that babies or young kids can have a safe platform where they can get up to counter height or tabletop height and be more involved with what's going on there, like helping cook food and things like that. So it's made of maple mostly, and there's a little bit of walnut used in this as well. The finish is brushing lacquer. The maple itself is 3/4 inch by 1.5 inch mostly. There's some bigger pieces of maple as well, but everything is 3/4 inch thick. Okay, some of the details about this are that there's the first step down here at the bottom. So the idea there is the baby will step on this and then start to climb up these different rungs right here. I'll try and point to them. These different rungs right here to get to where the platform is right here. And there, 3 of these rungs on this side here are removable. So this one, and this one are removable, and that will allow an opening, depending upon the height of the baby or the young kid, to get into the area where the platform is, to stand on the platform. The idea with this first step is to make sure that the baby's weight is on the inside of the different posts. There's 6 posts for this. There's 3 of them right there, and then 3 more on the other side. So you keep the baby's weight inside of those posts, and it's going to be stable. The learning tower also has these gussets on the side right here and here, and those are if the baby kind of hangs over the edge up above, wants to reach for something on the counter, the learning tower is going to be stable. It's not going to tip. And let's see, so some other things with this, the platform where the baby would stand is adjustable. The height of it is adjustable. I'll try and show you how that works real quick. So you just looked up on one side or the other. It's symmetric, so it doesn't go on a specific way. So you can either remove it out, or you can put it back in. But you can put it back in the lower setting. Just lower it down to whatever setting you want. Get it started on one side, and then finish it up on the other side. And there's 4 different settings, height settings. Adjust this a little bit. 4 different height settings. 1, 2, 3, 4. Up here is where you're going to have babies that have just started to learn to walk, and then to older kids that haven't quite got quite tall enough to reach the counter without something. This is going to be a lot safer than, like, say, a stool or a chair. Where there's, the baby does something wrong, they can fall off the edge of the chair. This one has, rails all the way around it. I've looked at the learning towers that are commercially available. I saw some shortcomings with those. Things like, there was one design that is collapsible. Into a real small size, for storage, which is really, creative, but it didn't really have a height adjustment that I could tell, and unless you want to screw it together, something about using hinges and just friction fit of the platform part just didn't really seem to sound very stable. I haven't bought one of those, I haven't seen one of them, but it just, that was one of the concerns of that it's going to be flimsy if I tried to make a design like that. There's another one that has that is, you know, permanently put together. And it has dowlings that the platform fits into. But that design with the dowlings, there's like 2 dowlings, and it just kind of rests into some pockets on the dowling. But what that did, that I found at least, was it created a large gap on one side of the platform, you know, that was big enough that, I don't know, it just didn't seem like a good idea to have such a large opening on the platform where the babies are standing. The other negative that I saw with that design was it had large openings on every side of the you know, the platform. The baby could crawl up in there, or at least it was on 2 sides. It had large areas, you know, and if the baby isn't careful, you know, it could they fall out those openings. The other negative that I saw with that concept was that instead of small openings for where the baby can climb up, it had pretty large openings, you know, kind of almost like oval shaped openings. If the baby's foot slipped through that, you know, that could lead to possible injury, you know. So I try to keep these rungs right here as short as possible and as wide here as possible to, you know, try to prevent that case of a baby's foot slipping through there. Some other details about this are that I did an 1/8" roundover on all edges of the learning tower, kind of, you know, just taking sharp edges off, particularly on the inside here, where, you know, the baby's going to be on the inside. I hand sanded this right here to be more than an 1/8" roundover. I started with the 1/8", but then, you know, even there, you know, it's fairly pointy even with an 1/8", you know. So I hand sanded this down to make it a lot softer. Another kind of fine detail that I did was, if we look closely here, hopefully it'll show up here. Maybe get a different angle, see if it'll show up better. Is what I did was I did roundovers on all edges, but up until where pieces join together. I glued these 2 pieces, all the pieces together, all the removable or non-removable pieces together. And you really, ideally, don't want to have a roundover, you know, where you're gluing things together. So the roundover starts here and moves this way, and that's true all the way around the piece. You know, I think it provides, it looks better for one. It provides a little stronger bond as well, but it is quite a bit extra work, you know, to do it that way. You certainly don't have to do it that way. The project would have gone a lot quicker if I didn't. Another kind of detail is on the platform here. You can see the dark areas. That's walnut, and there I just added a little walnut. I like the contrasting colors, you know, between walnut and maple. Another, you know, function this can do is it can allow you to more easily tune the fit of the platform into the learning tower. So if you needed this a little bit wider, you could add some pieces here, or you needed it wider over here, you can add some pieces on both sides and get that to fit, you know, how you'd like it to fit. This is a movable part, so you have to have, you know, some air gap to allow you to get the thing in and out and adjust it. Okay, this is the bottom side of the platform. Another feature that I added was these little stiffener supports. And what that does, you can kind of see where I'd screwed that all together. But that just kind of further joins these pieces together. Out here on the sides, you can see there's, you know, it's just a plank, right? Over here on the ends, right, this is very strong. I mean, it's supported by these side pieces here. It's very strong. Out here in the ends, you're just kind of relying on the strength of this 3/4" piece of maple, which in itself is very strong. It could probably support hundreds of pounds, probably 500 pounds, something along those lines. When you add these extra support pieces here, it just kind of provides a little bit more stiffness, a little bit more redundancy, you know, for safety reasons. Are that I used doweling, custom-made maple doweling to cover up where I had added sheetrock screws, you know, to secure the different pieces together. So I made this doweling myself. It was pretty easy, but I had a set size, because these screws are countersunk in there. It's a set size. It turned out pretty good. This is end grain. It's maple. It's not a different kind of wood. It's the same wood. It's just end grain, and so when you finish over that, it gives you a little bit different color. The other thing here is these are some, I'm not sure if it'll show up very well, but they're just brass screws on these lower 3 rungs here. These 3 here. So these are each removable, and that's where the baby can come up. What is configured right now is for the smallest size baby, where you would just lift the baby in. Say the baby's just learned how to stand, you'd lift the baby in. This back part here is completely enclosed, no way for them to come out. So really safe in that way. As your baby gets older, you'll want to remove a rung here, and you'll want to lower the platform, to whatever works best for you. So it's got that adjustability. I mentioned these gussets down on the bottom. There's 6 of them, 2 on each side and 1 in the back, or two in the back. And the ones in the back are a little bit shorter, you can see, than the ones on the sides. The idea there is that so you can get this platform up flush with the countertop. Let's see, what else? One negative with this design is that it like some of those other commercially available learning towers, has some openings in the platform, and it's about 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch. It's pretty small, and I really couldn't think of a real good way to prevent that. The reason for those holes are that when you want to move the platform, you've got to slide that platform to the side, one side or another, and so it needs to have that room to travel. I think it's small enough that it really shouldn't be a problem. I don't think that I don't think the baby's, even the smallest baby's foot is going to easily slip through that, and certainly not as they get older. So yeah, I think that's it. It's a pretty fun project. I've got a 3D Sketchup file for this with all the dimensions, if you were interested in making one of these yourself.